Here, on this day, I made 5 bold NBA predictions. 4 ended up being right. I said the Sixers won't get past the second round. I said health, not the opponent, will dictate the Lakers' success, and AD and LeBron were healthy in the playoffs. They got to the conference finals. I said the Suns are going to roll the Clippers. The Warriors will win a physical series with the Kings. By the way, y'all love Sacramento. And then I said you'd complain about the...
I had to stop this real fast. That is not right. Health, not opponent, will dictate Lakers' success. No. No. Don't take that game away from the Nuggets. Don't put that on health. The Nuggets had that series. They played out of their mind. Jokic played great. Murray played great. It was coaching was great. Everything was great. Do not put that on the health of the Lakers. That is nonsense.
Officiating. Old teams will flourish. I was wrong, although I did say Miami was going to surprise people, but I was wrong on that. So I'm going to make 5 bold, reasonably bold predictions. I mean, I'm not having Denver out in the first round, so, don't hold your breath. My first one is the Thunder, the number 1 seed, are going to win 1 series max. Then they're out. Youngest number 1 seed ever. Very dependent on SGA, who's a wonderful player, but he's the only guy averaging over 20. And playoff defense tightens up, and you make the star really have to earn his points. They would also face the Clippers or the Mavs, more veteran players in round 2. They are not your typical number 1 seed. I love the decade going forward, but this number 1 seed will get extinguished very quickly. The second one is the Suns, the Phoenix Suns will course correct, and they'll beat the T-Wolves. I've gone back and forth on this. First of all, Grayson Allen actually became a really, really good piece for them. Bradley Beal, finally healthy, has been absolutely on fire. And you know what? They say styles make fights. In the NBA playoffs, like Indiana's a bad matchup for Milwaukee, Phoenix is a bad matchup for Minnesota. So you've got guys with playoff experience. You've got Bradley Beal, healthy and on fire. I think the T-Wolves get bounced first series. The Clippers will unravel in spectacular fashion, and Mount Balmer will erupt. Westbrook, should you start him now for defense? Harden's last couple of playoff series haven't been great. Kawhi might not play. There's resentment there. I love Ty Lue as a coach, but I think Paul George is just about over it. You just don't know what you get. 8 straight missed games by Kawhi with a knee injury. I've got more questions than I do answers. They'll unravel. The Mavs will beat them. The Lakers will get through the play-in, and the Warriors won't. First of all, Sacramento, I'll take them tonight. But then they'd have to beat the Lakers, who they hammered when AD was out. They won't. Or the Pelicans, and I don't think it's a great matchup. Listen, the Lakers match up very well with New Orleans. They hammered them every time they play this year, almost every time. You saw the first half the other night. They have length, they have size. LeBron just dominates any game against Zion. I think he's 7-1 against Zion. Lakers are a great matchup against the Pels. And I think if they had to face Golden State after getting hammered at home without AD, no way the Warriors shoot like that. So I think the Lakers get through the play-in, the Warriors don't. And finally, I know we love the Knicks, but they are so dependent on Jalen Brunson. You can win with 1 star in energy in the regular season, especially at the end of the regular season where half the teams feel like they're tanking. You're not beating Philadelphia or Miami with 1 guy. So I think the Knicks right now are a better story than they are a team. I love Brunson and the direction they're going. I think Philadelphia would beat them in about 6, Miami 5 or 6. So there's my bold predictions, and Nick right now joins us live.
Okay, so that's not an upset because the Sixers are a better team. They're lower because Embiid was hurt. So if the Sixers make it and go up against the Knicks, it's not an upset. I'm pretty confident that the Sixers would be favored to win that series. Most likely. I mean, I would actually be pretty surprised if they weren't. I mean, I'm not entirely familiar exactly how the bookmakers make all their odds and all that, but I would have to imagine that they recognize that the Sixers are a completely different team with Joel Embiid and how amazing that they play with Joel. But, of course, his health is always a question mark. So, God, the bookmakers must, the odds makers or whatever the heck they're called, must hate ever trying to figure out, a series with Joel because they're just like, what the heck? We could lose so much money because at any moment Embiid can just go down. But I don't think some of these are so bold. Like, I don't think the Knicks losing to the Sixers is a bold prediction. Even against the Heat, especially because the Knicks are banged up. So I'm not entirely sure why that's such a bold prediction. Also saying that the Lakers will get through and the Warriors will not. Again, that's not a bold prediction. That's just math. The Lakers just have to win the one game and boom, they're in. The Warriors have to win two. I know this might be too complicated for y'all. I know. But it's harder to win two games than only win one game. So this idea that that's such a bold prediction, it's not that bold. It's math. It's a good bet. Even if you really believe in the Warriors and you really believe that they can do it and you don't believe that the Lakers can, mathematically, it's still the right bet to bet on the Lakers and against the Warriors because it's math. It's just if you make that bet 100 times, you'll win more times than you lose than if you do it the other way around, no matter how much you believe in these players. Outside of a very specific situation where, the Warriors are only in that situation or the Lakers are only in that situation because LeBron hadn't been playing or Steph hadn't been playing, similar to what's going on with the Sixers and Embiid. So, but that's not, necessarily the situation. So, again, that's not a bold prediction. That's just a very calculated decision that's not really that hard to make, quite honestly. In terms of the Timberwolves, that's an interesting one. Same thing with the Clippers falling apart. If I'm not too familiar with exactly what's going on with Kyrie in this Kawhi in this immediate moment, but I'm going to say that if Kawhi is healthy, if all the Clippers are healthy, then I think the Clippers will be able to beat the Mavs. That I do. I think Harden really wants this. I think PG-13 really wants this. Kawhi wants to play when he can play, but he's very attuned to his body. He's not willing to risk anything, which is why I was talking to someone else in the comments before about, or I might have said it in a video yesterday where it's like, Embiid needs more praise for being such a warrior and battling through injuries and trying to come back because we have other players like AD who gets a splinter, refuses to play. And you have someone like a Kawhi Leonard who's like, oh, my knee hurts, I'm not playing. Which I don't even necessarily blame Kawhi, honestly. Again, as someone who comes from a lot of injuries, I don't even necessarily blame him for taking that approach. But if Kawhi is playing and everyone's all healthy and they actually finish the series, I think the Clippers will win that series. But I think it'll be a fun series. I'm actually really excited for that one. But yeah, and then also OKC only winning one series. I think it all depends. I think it all depends on who's facing who, because there's a chance that the Warriors face... No. Yeah, there's a chance that the Warriors could face OKC or the Lakers could face OKC. And if that's the case, they might lose that first round. I think it's very possible that they get bounced that first round. But I don't know, because if the Warriors, get there, then it's one of those things where by the time the Warriors get to them, the Warriors could be just done, right? That, Steph could be out of gas, Clay could be cold, and then, then who really knows? Then OKC might not face Denver until the Western. I got to look at the exactly, because off the top of my head, I forget exactly how this structure is, when they face, who and when, because right, it's Denver 2, and then right, okay, yeah. So I think it all is going to depend on when you face who and at what time. We talked about this yesterday, and especially when we were talking about with Nick Wright, his whole thesis was, and I agree with this, and this is what I was saying leading up to the playoffs, that if it's better for the Lakers to face the Nuggets now than say in the Western Conference Championship, because they'll be the freshest they can be. And I agree with that because I do think LeBron and AD will get worn down as the playoffs go. And so I think a lot of that now will dictate the success of OKC and the Timberwolves. When do they face these teams? I do not think the Mavs are going to go far, even if they get past the Clippers. I think they would probably get knocked out the first round. And again, I don't have the bracket in front of me, so I'm not sure who they play the winner of what. I think, so even if some of these matchups aren't possible until the very end, it's just I'm not seeing the Mavs beat the Phoenix Suns. I wouldn't see them beating the Lakers in a 7-game series. Again, maybe if they didn't play into the Western Conference Championship when LeBron is, at this point gassed. But I don't know. I would see probably LeBron dig deep because I don't think he's going to want to lose a series to Kyrie Irving. But, who knows? Just because you don't want to lose doesn't mean you can stop it from happening. I don't see the Clippers going deep necessarily. I wouldn't see the Warriors going deep, but they could catch fire. Definitely a possibility. And again, LeBron is LeBron. So as we always say, you can't necessarily count out LeBron, but I'm not banking on it either. As generic as it sounds, to me, it really is those top 3 teams of OKC, the Timberwolves, and the Nuggets. If you ask me if I just had to just knee-jerk reaction, it would be the Nuggets because I theoretically trust them the most. But as I was also talking some in the comments in terms of, figuring out, are they a juggernaut or not? I'm defining juggernaut in a specific way. And this is how I replied in the comments that to me, a juggernaut is the KD Warriors, the Miami Heat with LeBron James. Like those were juggernauts where it was just like, how could you possibly beat these guys? I think the Nuggets can be got. Again, it's not that I'm banking on it. I would be surprised if they didn't get out the West because, I would be wild. Put it this way. I would be wildly more impressed if any of the other teams like the Lakers or the Warriors for that matter, but specifically OKC or the Timberwolves, if they were able to beat out the Nuggets, then I would be incredibly impressed, and it would say more to me about those teams than Denver Nuggets not being able to get the job done. I would be like, okay, OKC is here. They are arriving. This might be their time. This might be when they're stepping into their dynamic run because they have a very unique roster with very unique collection of high-level players who are also all varying ages, quite frankly, but on the younger side. And it's also a mixed bag for the Timberwolves, where they have a couple, mainly super young stars, and then some of these more older veteran, experienced players. But Cat obviously coming back from the knee surgery, so you just don't know how what he's going to necessarily look like, especially in an extended series and all of that. So yeah, like I keep saying every time I do a playoff video, I really have no idea. Honestly, that's the biggest takeaway is I really have no idea. I don't have any quote unquote bold predictions. You can make calculated predictions, I suppose, but I really think that these playoffs of all are just going to be a lot of fun. Specifically the West more than anything, and obviously I'm a little bit biased because I like the Sixers and I like Joel Embiid, but I do think out of everyone on the East, the most exciting that you can get, because Giannis isn't playing. The Knicks aren't that exciting to me because they're not at full strength, so I'm just not expecting them to really be able to do damage. The Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic, I mean, who's bringing you to watch that? Because even if you don't like the Sixers, then you watch to root against them, right? If you want to watch Joel Embiid fail, then you watch that game. So again, to me, that's more box office. So I'm hoping we get, I think the way how the bracket would work, especially if the Sixers win, then they would face the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Championship game, which to me would be really exciting. And then going up against the Nuggets, then you get a Jokic Embiid, which I think the NBA world would be absolutely thrilled with. But if that doesn't happen, then really the Celtics. But my fear is that somehow like a Miami or New York will squeak on by, similar to what happened last season. And then it's just not a competitive NBA Finals. And we need a legitimate competitive NBA Finals back and forth. Oh my God, who's going to win? The NBA needs that. The NBA is hurting. We need something exciting, which is why I'm trying to speak into existence the Sixers versus the Nuggets, because one, Philly has a massive fan base. That can't be argued. And two, Embiid and Jokic, they have that rivalry. As I always say, they like each other. They have no animosity towards one each other. They completely respect each other, but the fan bases do not like each other. And so that would just be, social media would be wild. wild. I mean, the Jokic fans against the Embiid fans on especially on like the YouTube comment section and Twitter comments has just been out of control for the last few years. So I just think that would be fireworks and really exciting. So if you're a basketball fan, general fan, you should be hoping for that. But it seems like the West will probably give us the more exciting matchups because especially they have more of the stars and especially more of the up-and-coming stars or the mega stars who are just now near the end of their career. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think of Colin's bold predictions for the playoffs? And do you have any bold predictions for the NBA playoffs? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. And ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with the visibility, and it helps combat all the trolls and the haters. Thank you so much, and see you next time.